Well, if nothing else, I'm consistent. Every video is 10 minutes when it's supposed to be 5 to 7. Anyway, influencers. So they always talk about you going out and finding influencers. Well, how do you go out and find influencers? And here's some of the statistics about why influencer marketing has become such a big thing and why it's important. And that's that 92% of the people trust influencers, much so than ads or celebrities talking. 47% of the people are using ad block technology, so they don't even want to see ads, and we ignore ads. Again, you don't remember commercials. I think the greatest commercial campaign ever was Dos Equis with the world's most interesting man, for the simple reason, and number 2 might be Geico. But the reason why is because you remember the product, and $255 million are spent every day due to influencers. So a lot of bucks being spent. 20 to 50% of teens make decisions by word of mouth, and 49% are out there on Twitter seeking purchasing guides. They're actually listening to these social media influencers. And 8 out of 10 spots right now on YouTube are directed towards teens. And so this gives you an idea of the power of influencers. What influencers are about is the economy of trust. And what that means is, are you real? Do people feel that you're honest and truthful for them? This is part of the reason now, as a manager, I've always been extremely honest with my people. And because I've always said, you're what matters the most, because without you, what's a leader with nobody to lead? And same thing with this, and I still treat the students like I did when I was a manager, meaning, I'll criticize President Crow. I'll say things about things I don't like about ASU, and that's it. Students always know I'm going to be honest, and if you're honest, they trust you. And so I'm real to them. Also, I'm sincere. What do I gain out of this? And that's why people don't trust ads. They don't trust ads because you feel this is a one-way relationship. All they want out of me is my money. They don't care if I like the product or anything else. And so you have to be sincere. And that's a picture of my lovely granddaughter. So you put those factors together, being real and sincere. You are authentic. You're trustworthy. You're real. And you're not trying to manipulate me. You're trying to educate me and honestly tell me about things. And from that, that's where I get my 3 R's of relevance, reach, and resonance. Because if you have a good, authentic message, people will pass it on to other people who are interested. If we look at the data, how many influencers should I have? And the convention says, get as many people as you possibly can. Yeah, but just because you have a boatload of influencers, are they really going to listen to you? And so on Instagram, as you can see, these are the percentage of likes versus followership, and the same thing with comment rate. And what you see is the more you have, the lower the percentage gets, meaning the more people you have, the more noise builds up. And so fewer, however, so does that mean I should look for people who have fewer? Well, yes and no. And there are trade-offs to it. The thing is, 8% of 1,000 people is still less than 4% of 10,000 people. However, people who have more followers charge you more. So you have to look at the entire picture. Not only that, but does the sales of your product correlate to likes? Or does it correlate better to comments? How much is it costing you per person? If your influencer wants to get paid in some way. And so you have to take all that into account to try to find the optimal strategy. Kim Kardashian West, boy, talk about an untalented individual. Has 105 million Instagram followers, but Just because she has 105 million people following her across the globe, is that really the person you want promoting your product? So this is why a lot of companies right now consider strategies around micro-influencers, and those are people with in the range of 1,000 to 10,000 followers. They go for several micro-influencers. They're going for quality over quantity. And so the qualities that you want of them are they authentic? Do they have a unique point of view? Can they tell a good story? And can they tailor what you're doing towards their audience? Avoid people who just want to hawk products. There are a lot of them out there. Essentially, that's the way they make their money and their living. Do they address the niches that you're interested in? And your end goal is you want real engagement. You don't want them out there just to be sales reps. And so here's an example of a company that successfully used influencers. And that's that Philip Tysander took $24,000 of his own money and created a Swedish wristwatch company. Yeah, not Swiss, Swedish. And it was called David Wellington. And in 6 years, he sold his company for $220 million. And how did he do it? He used influencer marketing. What he did is he reached out to fashion bloggers and gave them a watch. The condition of him giving them a watch, though, was they have to post a picture with his watch. And he challenged them to be original and to be interesting. And so, as you could see in the upper left corner, outstanding picture, very noticeable. And so what's happened is the greatest form of flattery is imitation. And so there are a bunch of fashion companies right now who are using his model. They're copying his playbook because it's been successful and it's simple and straightforward. So how do you find these people? Well, YouTube is a good place to look. And so your first approach of trying to find an influencer is maybe you should go out and try to find a whale. And that's find these people who have tons of followers. And so you can find those on YouTube or Instagram or Pinterest or whatever. And so you could see, for some reason, this gal with their hacks for girls or whatever has 1 million views. And so this is a person who can attract a lot of people. Or is she the right one for you? Who knows? But you could decide that, hey, I need reach. And so you can use that approach. The next approach you can use is your micro-influencers can be the fans you already have. And that's that when you go out and do your social media, look at who signs up to be a follower. Look at their profiles. Look at their @ names. For example, if I'm making donuts, I'm not going to look at the guy with the @ address of feet too wide. I'm going to go after the person who's @donut-lover. And so those could be indicators to you. And then you might find out these people have blogs or whatever. And so they might actually be the people that you do want. Another way of finding people is hashtags. You can go to Google and just do a search based on hashtag. And guess what? It's going to tell you all the different ones based on different accounts, whether it's Instagram or Twitter and other social media sites. And so you click on those and see what comes up. You look for the best photos. You look for what they're actually doing. Or are they just, random people? So hashtags is a good way to find people. And here's an example. Based on that last one, this is what pops up on Pinterest. And this is what I mean by look at the most attractive photos. Maybe photos with a lot of people in it. But those are the people, guess what, who probably care more. And so they'd be good influencers. Now you have to think about, okay, once I contact the influencer, how am I going to get them into my fold? And you can go with a location-based approach. And that's like go after local bloggers. And what you do is standard search. Do a search in your area and then add keywords to your search to get the proper focus of what you need. And so these people are local. Go have coffee with them. get to know them, inspire them to see your vision, and get them on board. And our third-party tools, the fifth approach. There are a lot of tools out there. Some of them are free. And actually, I left off a whole bunch. But they're going to help you find bloggers or influencers out there that can potentially help you. And so there's software to help you with that. Yes, there's software for everything today. And so I can't believe I'm going to part 4, but the last part of this is wraps up the rest of this lecture, and it's about marketing on the cheap and moving forward with your product.